So who are we? Syyn Labs. We are a group of engineers and scientists, designers. We have a molecular gastronomist chef. We have roboticists. We have engineers of all kinds. People even who aren't necessarily in the strict engineering arts, who love creativity and playing and making art. We're artists. We call ourselves experience wranglers because we like doing stuff in the public space. We've been called a drinking club with technology or an art problem. There's certainly true. But I want to talk a little bit about sort of some of the characteristics of our team and of our products. So there's no doubt that the people that make best sort of Syyn Labbers are talented and smart. They are explorers and experimenters. They are fascinated by art and technology and the intersection. Never before has it been sort of so possible to really merge art and technology, and we're really excited by that. And we're not willing to give up easily, which is a really important part of this as well, because we're very much exploring sort of the edge of what's possible, and I think that's really important. Not afraid to fail and disciplined. There was an opportunity I had to speak at RISD a few months back, and before I went on, I went into the men's room, as you do, and I found this when I showed up, and I was really impressed at how disciplined the students are at RISD, that they pee in Pantone colors. And that's discipline. Now, you see, we need to look at that. So going back to some of the early products or interaction pieces that Syyn Labs has become famous for. This is one of the first. This is Artfall. It was created by one of our guys, Eric Gradman, who's an incredibly talented roboticist and software engineer. What it is, it's a whiteboard onto which we focus a camera, a webcam, and we allow people to come up and write on the board. And as they're doing so, objects, computer-generated objects, are falling from the sky, being projected onto this whiteboard as it falls. And wherever there are whiteboard lines, those objects will interact with them as if they're actual objects. So it's sort of you create a sort of pachinko machine. And we've connected it to an iPhone accelerometer so you can change the direction of gravity. So now we've got our falling objects, and you can see how changing the lines changes the paths of these falling objects. This is great at parties, by the way. The drunker people we find the more they enjoy our art. Cloud Mirror is another piece, also Eric's. This is a piece, basically, when people came into the party, we gave them a two-dimensional barcode that you wear around your neck, and that barcode was associated with your Facebook account. So when you came in, you walked in front of this thing. It's a big TV screen with a camera pointed at you. You see a reflection of yourself. And in the reflection, we've replaced the barcode with a picture of you that we grabbed from Facebook. And we also start popping up thought bubbles over your head, because we can do some facial tracking, and we know where your head is. And we start popping up these thought bubbles, and we do things like, as you can see, that she's a Libra, so we grab that from her Facebook profile. And this one is single, as you can see, getting people laid since 2009. We also can grab information from the sex offender registry. Not quite as popular, as you can imagine. We do a lot of things for parties, right? So Punch Bob is one of those. This was done by Dick Whitney, who came up with the idea of attaching an accelerometer to a mannequin, a martial arts dummy. And whenever you punch him, he takes a picture. And so leave this in a room full of drunk people and see what happens. It didn't take long for people to realize that you just give them a little slap on the back where the accelerometer is, and you can take pictures doing just about anything. And so you give him a hug. You can obviously punch him. There was a guy at Burning Man who really went crazy, and he got completely horizontal in that photograph. Other installations. So we had the opportunity to display behind Yo-Yo Ma at a performance he did in New York a couple years ago. David Gutman, one of our guys, produces really extraordinary computer-generative visual art, and he had the opportunity to take Yo-Yo Ma's performance live and pump it through a computer and create these really magnificent pieces. The city of Santa Monica invited us to produce a piece for them for their biannual or semi-annual Glow Festival. This is a nighttime art festival where all of the art is nighttime enabled or nighttime friendly. So they asked us what we wanted to do, and we came up with this idea. We wanted to place it in this existing atrium, this like sort of long runner that was about 110 feet long. We wanted to make a 100-foot-long sculpture that consisted of 512 individually computer-controlled full-color LEDs. And you can see what our vision was in this rendering, and this is just a quick little video. So we had, at the same time that this was performing, it was receiving music from the DJ, and it was doing beat matching so that all of the light performance was always synced to the music. And then at the same time, we gave a console with 25 or 26 buttons to the public and let them choose what light sequences they wanted to play. So it was really, really beautiful. We were in New York a few weeks ago. We had the opportunity to collaborate with folks at Mother and the folks at Amalgamated, who they're an amazing creature shop in Los Angeles. They produced this beautiful puppet, and we helped them enable some of the tech to allow her cell phone to take photographs and to tweet. She had wireless internet. You know, she was a nifty technology-enabled puppet, and she traveled around New York. The folks at Nestle, specifically the Willy Wonka group, Willy called. And he said, we want you to build a machine that will promote our golden ticket promotion, that will talk a little bit about sort of the 4 different kinds of, major types of chocolate bar that we have, and we want to integrate all these components, and so we came up with this little machine.
Wonka decided that this year they needed a digital version of their ticket and not a physical one, and so we wanted to create a machine that was very physical, but at the same time celebrated the digital nature of the new ticket.
They had come to us and said that they were looking to do something extraordinary for this window for the golden ticket promotion.
Taking physical items and turning them into digital and then back to physical. And we took the concept and we applied it to these Wonka machines.
The way this machine works is that we're starting off with raw ingredients in the form of balls, chocolate balls, caramel balls, toffee, etc.
A ball gets released up above. It travels down a track for some distance. Now it's not going to be your typical track because, of course, this is Wonka.
And they enter our machines, which process these ingredients. And all sorts of really cool things happen to these ingredients. They get shot by lasers and melted down and crushed into grinders, etc. And
then they re-enter the physical world in some way. As it completes, it will send sort of power through these beautiful rope lights to our W, which will illuminate in sections.
All the raw ingredients that we've taken from these machines, they're going to storm into this monitor. They're going to swirl around and create our golden ticket.
The golden ticket being created out of particles and swirl right before your eyes in glorious glasses-free 3D.
So at the very end of this machine, we announce the golden ticket and show the name of the website. And basically, if you buy a Wonka bar, it will come with a code that if you go into the website, you input your code. That code could be one of the 5 lucky winners. These 5 lucky winners win $100,000 and a trip to LA.
I can't think of places that have more visibility and bigger audiences than Times Square. Hundreds and thousands of people are going to be able to see this thing over the course of 3 months, and I hope that all the effort and all the fun that we've been having comes out in the machine.
I think Willy Wonka would be really proud. We had the opportunity to do some work in the past for DieHard Battery. They came to us and they said, what can you do to show how powerful battery is? Their batteries, the platinum in particular, and we said, well, will it take a bullet? And they gave us a bunch of them and sent us off to the desert. As they didn't want to do it, they just sent us off. Isn't that nice? Sure enough, actually, you can see to the right of the D on the DieHard, that's a bullet from a .458 guide rifle, which is a really serious gun. One of our guys, when he tested it, had said it felt like being in a car accident just to shoot the thing. But you can see what it does to a battery. And sure enough, it started. It actually started. The other one that we did to talk about sort of the energy storage capability of the battery is we created an organ. We took 24 cars. This is just an early rendering. We took all their batteries out, took out their horns, replaced the horns with our own that were all tuned to match the note that they would be on the piano keyboard. All the controls for all the lights, all the controls for all the horns, ran them all back to a single computer-controlled MIDI keyboard, took all the power for all 24 cars and ran it to a single DieHard battery, right? And then we invited Gary Numan to come out and play his song, Cars, on our car organ.
We powered a cube of lights, a double-stack keyboard, 24 cars without batteries, and Gary Numan. All with one DieHard Platinum battery. That, and they all still started. Life demands DieHard.
Of course, as smart as these guys are, it doesn't keep them from locking the keys in one of the cars. And that brings us to Rube Goldberg machines. You know, they're often sort of unwieldy, winding, meandering processes, the chain reactions of events that, when strung together, you know, can be really captivating. What you're about to see is one that we just did, or that we did about a year and a half ago for Disney as a quick little bumper. And you may notice that it seems to run a little fast, like the physics seem like unnaturally fast, and in fact, you're right. In fact, they had to change it. Originally, it was a 20-second spot, and they made it a 15, so what do? You speed it up. You can't cut anything, right? So this is it. This is the animatic that we produced to sell them on what we sort of envisioned it to look like. So sound effects courtesy our creative director, Hector Alvarez, who I think missed his calling and should have been a voiceover artist, right? This is a machine we did for Google to promote their science fair education. So we built it in a science fair.
C'est magnifique, des jours tout bleus, des baisers lumineux. C'est magnifique, donner son cœur avec un bouquet de fleurs, oh là là là. Mais c'est magnifique, et faire un jour un mariage d'amour. Magnifique. Oh là là là, c'est magnifique. Avoir de cœur pour faire un seul bonheur. Oh là là là, mais c'est magnifique. S'aimer d'amour. À Paris pour toujours, c'est magnifique.
Google presents the first global online science fair.
So that was all this crazy, intense glow fluid that we got from one of the companies that makes glow sticks. We said we want the brightest, like crazy. And they said, we can do that, but it's only going to last 15 minutes. And we went, bring it. Yes. So they sent us, like 10 gallons of this stuff, and we know that we're on like the TSA watch list or Homeland Security's paying attention. It's like seriously toxic stuff. Like, why do they want 10 gallons of it? Or whatever. A year and a half ago, I guess we were invited by the folks at OK Go. They put out an email to a group of their friends who basically looking for a group of guys who would help them build a machine that they could dance with. And of course, they're no stranger to dancing with machines. Specifically, though, after having a few conversations with them, we realized that they wanted a Rube Goldberg machine, right? So we were excited to oblige with that. Just talking a little bit about some of the thought process that went into this, we came upon basically what we came to consider the 10 Commandments, the rules by which this particular machine would operate. The first of those commandments is that we couldn't use any magic. That is, if my mother couldn't understand what was going on, it was too complicated, people would consider it magic, it had to be left out. We wanted it really simple and understandable for everybody. The interactions had to be pretty straightforward. Additionally, we wanted the band, of course, involved. It's a music video for the band. You've got to include them. The machine action should follow the song feeling. So as the crescendo in the song happens, so should there be one in the action of the machine. We wanted to make use of the space. We had this 10,000 square foot warehouse that we were using, split between 2 floors, so we had to figure out how to use that and how to descend, and we ended up building our own descend rig, and it was really quite complicated. They wanted it messy. We were happy to oblige. The machine should start the music, so that speaks to timing. So the machine will run for a little while, hit play on a tape recorder or an iPod or something. Ultimately, it was an iPod. That would start the song, and we would, from that moment, stay in sync with the song and hit specific beats along the way throughout the length of the song, right? It had to end precisely on time. So now you're starting to realize how complicated and difficult this is. The machine should play part of the song. Yeah. And they wanted it in one shot. Okay. 89 unique interactions in the machine, of course, hundreds of interactions if you count every domino, every point of failure, every opportunity for something to go wrong. 85 takes to get 3 successful runs. We had, we destroyed 2 pianos and well over 10 TVs. Went to Home Depot 100,000 times. We destroyed 1 high heel shoe. It was a casualty of war. Heather Knight, one of our engineers, who is just amazing, came back from dinner one night wearing a nice dress and shoes and took them off and threw them in a pile in the corner. And another one of our engineers came along and went, "Ooh, that's just the thing I need." She came back 45 minutes later and her shoe had been drill gunned into the machine. And she's like, "What are you doing?" Our guys don't know anything from shoes, They were apparently nice. I don't know. And it took us 3 months to build it. So this is the video. Thank you. Thank you all. That's great. Thank you. This is Hector Alvarez, our creative director. He's the one who voiced the animatic earlier. There's actually Heather Knight on the right, who donated her shoe among lots of hours to help make this happen. And on the left is the cameraman. And this is important because we're going to look at his work in detail in a second. This is, of course, looking up the ball track, which proved to be incredibly problematic. And you want to talk about the discipline here. This was at exactly a 3.4 degree incline, and it still wouldn't work before 11 o'clock in the morning. Why? Temperature. Crazy. We played a lot with scale. We've got, of course, the Lego car on the left, which has its little shark fin, and then on the right, it's matching the same of the Make car. This is the setting up the flags, and you can see Sarah here is holding this purple stick, and then there's actually another one in the foreground. You can see the black and yellow. Those are really just to prevent the person who's actually setting all because these are all rat traps, right? 25 rat traps make up that beautiful flag. A more beautiful use of rat traps I cannot imagine. So those sticks are basically there to keep the person who's setting all of these from getting hit in the head with those long sticks, you know.
Oh, so you do it on the, right? When the morning comes. When the morning comes. When the morning comes. Boring. When the morning comes. When the morning comes.
During all of the mannequins falling, that was actually Damien, the lead singer's voice. The whole team actually were incredibly active in the whole process, helping us throughout, and it was really invaluable help for both creative decisions and even turning screws. They definitely don't mind getting their hands dirty, and it was really appreciated. They're amazing guys. This is a quick little time lapse of the top floor where we start the video, taken from sort of looking at the entrance from which we come to start the video. And on the very right-hand side, you can see the scaffolding, which was the beginning of our elevator, which would descend the camera and operator down the 17 feet to the floor below safely, fortunately. You can also see, like, for what it's worth, there was a hole in the roof. And in the foreground, you can see there's a Home Depot bucket that will periodically make an appearance and a big puddle. There's a flurry of activity at the end. And we move out. For those of you who maybe missed the shoe, did anybody see the shoe? You can see to the left of Andy's hand, there's a shoe mounted on the post. That's Heather's generous contribution. And it was the trigger that released a little waffle iron that sort of slides. So you can see that there's a rope sort of hooked over the heel. And there's, as the volleyball gets down, the hammer falls, pulls the string off the heel, which allows the waffle iron to fall, which pulls the pin out of the shopping cart, which has the shark in it, so that the shark can jump. You can see in the right-hand side, behind the platform is one of our PAs who just sort of happens to appear in frame for about 3 frames. And he's there. He has a very specific job, and it's important that he's there because, as you can see, Damien, who's in blue, flying off the platform backwards, takes with him one of the boxes, and it lands on the track where the barrel is supposed to go. Now, Dan, who's in green, the drummer, sees that there's a box that has fallen, and he's singing, and he looks to his left and suddenly stops singing at that point because he thinks, oh, well, that's not going to happen, right? But that kid, pictured in the beginning, runs all the way across the floor in no time, right? The camera is not moving very far. He grabs that box, throws it someplace, and disappears. The camera swings around and he's gone. I don't know where he went. I don't think we even saw him the rest of the day. So the cameraman had a pretty obviously dangerous task of navigating through this operating machine and pointing in so many different directions and making sure that he captured the action as it was happening, and it would periodically happen in sort of unexpected ways. One of those, we didn't get to the bottom floor a lot, right? You always start at the beginning, and statistically, your errors happen. You don't always make it to the end. We only made it to the end 3 times, right? In fact, we only got past the tire, if you remember where the tire is, like first minute of the song, 12 times. So we didn't have a whole lot of experience watching this blue barrel fall. And you can see it's sort of turned so that it's lengthwise toward the camera. And it had never done that before, but it's just hanging on a rope, and none of us thought anything of it. But when it comes down, instead of rolling off to the left like it had always done, this time it took a turn and decided to head to the right, which is in the path of the cameraman. So the cameraman continues his march forward, and at this point, trips over the barrel, and you can see it starts to make a crazy wonky, and he does, here we go, keep going. And there's this gathering himself, okay, and then he recovers. And you guys can see the whole thing. Now that you know what to look for, here we go. And trip. Now he's carrying like, I don't know, $100,000 and 70 pounds on his body, right? And he manages to save it, and save the take and the day, really, because had we damaged the camera, it would have been over. So really extraordinary and Herculean performance by Mick Waugh, who was the cameraman on the day. Extraordinary. So the lessons that we learned, specifically from the OK Go video, but just in general from the work that we do, explore. The world is an amazing place, and we find new stuff in it all the time, and we find ways to incorporate that into our art and into our installations and into our videos, and it's really important, keeping your eyes open, looking around. Be willing to make mistakes, because you will anyway, and you learn from them, right? Small stuff stinks, but it's essential. On collaboration, we find that it's incredibly important to involve people that you like, friends and co-workers who are passionate, people who are fun and funny, people who are willing to fail, people who are smarter than you. I think that's actually really important. They're certainly almost all of them smarter than me, almost. And of course, it's important to remember that whatever challenges, whatever successes you have, it's important to remember that this too shall pass. Thank you very much.